So as a kid, I always enjoyed taking photos. I remember, just having a quick little Kodak instant camera, and I just loved taking photos. Whether they were good or not, I just enjoyed it. But it was never anything that I pursued. Going through school, it was just never something that I thought I could make a career out of. So it just kind of turned into a hobby. But over the last 7 years, I've really just dove into my passion and really tried to experiment with new things when it comes to photography and trying to grow with that. Little bit of a long story. I won't bore you with the whole thing, but a little over 7 years ago, I was actually struggling with a drug and alcohol addiction. I was looking at, going to prison. I was looking at losing everything I had owned. At that point, I had reached out to my father and I told him, I said, I just need to get away from everything. I need to start over, find some new friends, new things to do. So he took me on a vacation up to the mountains. And when I was there, I just saw the beauty of everything. And I thought to myself, I've got to find a way that I can capture this moment and just remember this moment forever. And that's what really sparked my interest of getting back into it. He let me borrow his camera the entire time that I was there, so I was taking multiple pictures, came home, started playing around with some editing software. I look back now, those first photos I took were absolutely horrible, but I was extremely proud of them. I thought that they were just one of the coolest things I had ever seen. And so from there, it was always wanting to learn more. It was, how can I capture the night sky? How can I, capture automobiles and do cool photos with that? And I just strived to continue to learn more and more. And once I thought I had something down pretty good, I was on to the next and just always continuing to grow my craft. I don't know if I really have a mental process of what goes through. A lot of it is just what I think looks good. It's not like the old days where you're working with film. You have digital print, so you can take a lot of pictures and feed through what's good and what's bad. But a lot of it is, I just try to interact with people. So when I'm taking people photos, I try to make it fun. I think if you can engage the person that you're taking a photo with, and if you can get them to enjoy the shoot, just everything just starts to flow. Like I said, there's a lot of times that I go back home, I'm like, probably shouldn't have taken these photos, but that's just part of the process. I think that's probably one of the biggest key points to it. There has been times that I've gone into a photo shoot and I just wasn't feeling it. And, your model can sense that off of you. And if you're not feeling it, she's not going to feel it either. And when you come home, the photos just aren't what you are looking for. So again, I think having that relationship, building that up, is key. I always try to firsthand just sit down and try and figure out, what does the model want? If my customer is paying for a photo, it doesn't matter what I necessarily want. I'm the creative and I want to produce something for her that is special, but I also want to make sure that it's what she wants. So I try to spend some time just figuring out, what are some key shots that she might be looking for. And if she doesn't have ideas, I try to come prepared to a shoot with maybe some creative ideas, some things that I've thought of that might make some things look good, and just kind of build from there. But a lot of it is just working together. I feed off of her vibe. If she's doing something and I like it, we just continue working with it and build from there. A couple things really, but I would say a lot of that comes down to my editing. I think with a lot of creatives, they all have that certain style. I like to change things up a lot. I don't like to just do the same thing, but there's probably about like 7 key points that I do on every photo, so I might tweak a few things, but I think those 7 key traits kind of let people know. With mine, I kind of like to put a little bit of an orange and teal effect on most of my photos. But the biggest thing too is just the lighting. I like to use an off-camera flash when I'm taking photos, and that allows me to kind of take what you would normally get in a studio portrait setting, but I can actually do that in the middle of the day right outside. Yeah, I moved here into February, so I literally got here just a few weeks before lockdown and everything happened. And to be honest, it drove me crazy because I wanted to get out there, meet some people, and start taking photos. So for the first probably 3 months that I was here, I wasn't able to do anything other than just take photos of myself in the house. But since I've gotten out there and been able to show my work and have met some incredible people here, I've just noticed that there is a huge passion for arts and culture here in Lesotho. Comparing to other photographers, again, everybody has their own style. I've seen everything from some people that I really look up to that I think are just, their photography game is knocking it out of the park here in Lesotho, to a lot of people that are just getting started and they're reaching out and asking me for, advice. How can I help them? And that's one of the things that I love to do too. Just share my passion with other people, try to teach other people. But there's a huge want, there's a huge, I think, need that unfortunately I don't think is necessarily seen here in Lesotho a lot of times for the creative side of things. But just when it comes to photography, music, there's a huge arts and culture here in Lesotho. That's a good question, and a lot of people probably are not going to respect my answer on this question. But if I'm going to be honest, where I see photography going in Lesotho right now is probably into a brick wall. And it's just simply due to the fact that there are so many creative people out there, but yet the price that they are charging to do a photo shoot, when you start factoring in how much equipment costs, when you start factoring in, the cost of transportation to get to and from a shoot, makeup, just everything that goes into trying to come up with a production, they're not charging enough. And so what's going to end up happening is their equipment's going to wear out, and they won't have the funds to be able to go and replace it. So that's my fear, because there is so many creative people. There are people that are just doing amazing work here, but they're just not able to charge really what they should be charging for the work that they are producing. There's a whole laundry list of challenges, and it all comes down to what do you want to photograph. There's days that I just feel like going and doing landscape shots. I went out to Mahali Dam and I had this whole day planned out, all these shots that I wanted to take, and I get out there and it's like 45-mile-an-hour winds. Literally almost blowing me over just trying to stand still. So I couldn't use my flash. I wanted to fly the drone, I couldn't really do that. So everything I had planned went out the window. Now, you have to adapt. So when you're in that situation, I could have looked at it and said, I just drove 2 hours out here. It's too windy. I'm going to pack up everything and go home. I wasn't going to make a wasted trip of it, So I took as many shots as I could. I still tried to come home to come out with something. And to be honest, it's probably some of my favorite shots that I've actually taken here in Lesotho. I was very discouraged that whole day. I was in my head about it, thinking like this isn't going to be good. But that's kind of part of the process. You have your good days and your bad days. Clients, same thing. You're sitting there waiting on a shoot. If a client's running late or something like that, it can just change your whole mood. You have to try to put that stuff behind you when it's time to do the shoot, because if not, like I said, your clients feed off of it. So if you sit there and, you're all upset, they're going to see that. They're not going to enjoy it. And bottom line is, they're your client. They're making your paycheck, so you want to make sure that they enjoy it more than you do, so that they will call you again in the future. So first off, I just want to say thank you for having me. Any last words I would have would just be, just keep creating, don't get discouraged. The biggest thing is you'll continue to grow. When I started out 8 years ago, I wasn't even close to where I am now, and my hopes are in another 8 years, I'm so much farther than I am today. The biggest thing is to just continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to strive to succeed.